Hello, my friends. It's John Peterson from the Arlington Institute, and we're here again to talk about our transition talks. Our next session is on the 22nd of October here in Berkeley Springs. And we've got a wonderful speaker, Dr. Rainer Weyweger, who is going to come over here from Germany, and he's here to talk to us this morning. Hi, Rainer. How are you?
Yeah, hello, John. It's a pleasure to be with you again. And I'm very happy to be invited to come to Berkeley Springs, which we had planned some 3 or 4 years ago. And now that we met again in July, we really make it happen.
Yeah, we've made a couple of false starts to try to make this happen. I first met you, like 3 or 4 years ago at a conference, and was very intrigued with the ideas that you had. They're so big and they're profound in their implications. And so, and then COVID came along and screwed everything up. Like everywhere in the world. And so we're really happy that you're coming back. Rainer, you're an orthopedic surgeon by kind of profession. Is that right?
Yes, that's what I am. And I still work as a doctor. I do more complementary medicine now, and instead of conventional. But it's a range. I do things with shock waves, which is a very mechanical power that is used, and I also do very subtle things with using homeopathy, for example, and other things that deal with the informational field of the body. So it's a huge range that also includes nutrition.
Yeah, but you're not kind of a conventional guy. You're in our space, thinking about the world in a really unconventional and very creative kind of way that, to my way of thinking is just, mind blowing. We want to talk about some of these things this morning, which are the really big ideas. Here at Transition Talks, what we're interested in is this transition to a new world and what the new world could be. And this is a really extraordinary idea. It's the largest kind of change that's ever happened on the planet. And so the question always in our minds is, where is this going? And how do we get from here to there, And so the area that you write about and you speak about is called global scaling. Yes. And it's essentially about the notion that there is an underlying kind of fabric. There is an organizing kind of notion that is in everything in the universe. And what it does is it maintains balance. And if you can figure that out, then what you've got is the formula, if you will, for how you build new pieces of the world and how everything works. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I can. I like to talk about it. This is one of my passions, and it does not only apply to all parts of the universe, but also, of course, to the human body and to the anatomy and physiology of the body. So that makes it very interesting in my field of medicine. But I was someone who was always asking himself, why are we here, and what is the purpose of the universe at all? And then I figured out when I was a young student still that we may be a part of the creator or a part of the divine that is used by the creator to explore the world and to find out what the creator can do, what it can feel. And then we are sharing that information. And later on, I came across a friend told me of it, who is a physicist and who was a veterinarian, he passed 2 years ago. He passed away. And he told me about global scaling, which he just heard about. And then I wanted to know really what it is. And it turned out that with the eyes of today looking at it, there is a genotype, something that is so fundamental, how the universe creates everything, that has its background in the number continuum. And we know that numbers are amounts, so quantities, and they describe quantities, and sometimes they can also describe, of course, different qualities, because different quantities create different qualities. But those numbers are in a relation to each other, and also real physical processes are in relation to each other. And when they create ratios that are made of whole numbers, so it's about whole number ratios, then there is a resonance that may occur which destabilizes how those processes interact with
Right.
each other. And this does not support stability of the two or more systems that interact with each other. So there must be something that could avoid these types of
Right.
destabilizing resonance in the universe. And that
Well,
comes
let me just
from
break
numbers.
in. Just let me break in and say here that this idea is really a big idea that says that how is there coherence within everything? Why is it that all of the molecules and the atoms just don't
Right.
disperse like, what is it, Boyle's law or something that says it all just fills up, a gas fills up evenly a whole space? What is it that holds everything together so that there is this coherence such that, and balance? And that's what we're talking about here. This
Yeah.
is a really fundamental idea. And if we what you're going to talk about is essentially, and we're not going to get into the weeds and get scientific and everything, but and it isn't that complex in scientific terms, but this is not going to be a kind of a scientific discussion. It's about what the practical way, what are the key to hold that holds everything in this universe together, including people and relationships and businesses and planets and solar systems. What is the key to that? And if you understand that, then you can start to do design work, because you can say, if I want a piece that holds together and is coherent and balanced, what I can do is use these basic kind of relationships, these ratios that you're talking about.
Yeah, there is one fundamental oscillation that exists in the whole of the universe, and that is the oscillation of the hydrogen nucleus, which is basically one single proton. And this type of oscillator is the most stable that we know. So it has a lifetime or a half-lifetime of at least 10 to the power 30 years, which is magnitudes more than the age of the universe that we know. And this oscillation will dominate everything over time. And also because we have countless of those protons, and those protons, they create an interference pattern with their oscillations, and then they start to arrange themselves in certain areas, in certain distances from each other, and in certain amounts, how they are glued together to form all the different elements. And then they would form the different molecules, and it would all scale up from the smallest to the biggest.
Right.
And all those scales would look very similar to each other.
Right. It's fractal.
And still, on all these different scales, we have different dimensions. So things work differently. And one of the examples is that we are trying on Earth to create nuclear fusion as it happens in the sun. And I think this will not work, because to create the conditions that are present in the sun with this huge mass and this huge gravitational tension that is up there in the sun, we will never be able to create this here. So we should find other ways to create that fusion. And this may go into cold fusion instead of the hot fusion. And these are applications that we can use.
Yeah, okay, that's perfect, because that's a nice lead in into where we're going on the 22nd of October, is that there are practical applications of these underlying principles. And in this particular case says, you don't go to these big tokamak kind of multi-billion-dollar project. You find the essential way in which nature operates effectively. And it all has to do with this balance. And
it has it has not only the balance and that harmonious or structure everywhere in the universe, but one of the keys is basically that it is, from an energetic point of view, it is the most efficient way of how you can do things. And this is what nature has figured out, or the creator has figured out over the aeons of time. And the reason lies in the natural oscillations of matter itself. So it's the oscillation of the protons and electrons that create this scale, we could say, grid in the background, which is an eternal grid. And if we follow that pattern, we can tap into the energy and information that communicates throughout the whole universe, throughout every scale.
So you can make the case in terms of an individual that disease is a lack of balance, that and that understanding this basic principle that we're going to talk about on the 22nd of October when you come here to Berkeley Springs is if you understand those this underlying principles, then what you have is the basis for then not only building a new life in physical terms, but it works in social relationships, and it works all the way across. So it's really the basis. This is the first time I've ever run into anything that is so big and profound as this, that essentially says this is the formula for how the most basic kind of formula for how you would build a new world or a new life or a new human, and that's what we're gonna and that's what we're gonna talk about.
And this is what in the whole cosmos always happened, and the time we are living now is a time of change. And as we will see on the 22nd, there are standing wave systems and attractive areas in all those processes. And what we feel right now is that there is an event density present in these times, which gives us the proof that we are in a time of profound change, where everything can change, because very close to those oscillation nodes, the probability for change is the biggest. And now we can decide if we want to follow those creative or divine patterns, or do we want to use more energy than needed, and not follow that path, and go ways which at the end will lead to nowhere.
This is all about elegance, this is about simplicity, the most efficient way to do almost anything going forward. So this is going to be wonderful. And this is going to be interesting, and it is not going to be deep kind of scientific kind of things for those of you who are watching this, who are interested in the basic ideas and worried about getting lost in the numbers somewhere.
Yeah.
Rainer and I are going to have a conversation together for a couple of hours, and we're going to talk through all of this so that you can understand the kind of the basics about how this works and how, and so you can change your mind and see the world in a different kind of way. And so it's really big, and it's a big idea, and it's going to be a wonderful thing. And we're really looking forward to having you with us, Rainer. And so come and join us on the 22nd, all of you who are watching this. You can do that by live stream, or you can come to Berkeley, our little town, resort town of Berkeley Springs in West Virginia. We're just 100 miles from Washington and Baltimore, and we'll take really good care of you. And we have a lot of fun on Saturdays when we do this. And so you can get complete information on transitiontalks.org. And if you can't make it, you can do a live stream. And so anywhere in the world, you can have about 3 or 4 weeks that you can watch the live stream, and you can watch it as many times as you want. So come and be with us. And thanks, Rainer. We're really looking forward to having you with us.
Yes, thank you so much, John. I'm also very happy and looking forward to seeing you all in Berkeley Springs in October. Yeah.